Jesus tells us to pray, "Lead us not into temptation." But have you ever wondered, why would God lead us into temptation in the first place? Some people struggle with this line because it sounds like we're asking God not to do something he might otherwise do. But that's not what Jesus meant. The Bible is clear. James 1:13 tells us, God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. So why did Jesus include this in his prayer? Because temptation is a reality, and he was teaching us to stay spiritually alert. Temptation is not a possibility, it is a guarantee. Every single person faces it. Even Jesus himself was tempted in the wilderness by Satan in Matthew 4. But while temptation itself is not a sin, giving in to it is. That's why Jesus is showing us how to pray for protection before we even step into the battle. Think about it. How often do people fall into sin, into addiction, into bad choices because they weren't on guard? They weren't praying against temptation. They were just hoping they'd be strong enough in the moment. But Jesus is teaching us that we don't wait until temptation comes to start fighting. We ask God to guide us in a way that helps us avoid it altogether. And this is where spiritual warfare comes in, because temptation is not just about human weakness. It is a strategy, a setup. The enemy studies us. He knows our patterns, our weaknesses, our blind spots. He doesn't waste time tempting us with things we don't care about. He tempts us with the very things we struggle with most. That's why Jesus tells us to pray this daily, because whether you realize it or not, there is a battle over your mind, your purity, your focus, your integrity. And without spiritual protection, you are walking straight into enemy territory unarmed. Look at Peter. Before Jesus was arrested, he warned Peter, "Satan has asked to sift you like wheat, but I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail." Luke 22:31-32. Jesus didn't tell Peter to just be strong. He covered him in prayer. But what did Peter do? He relied on his own strength. He ignored Jesus' warning. And when temptation came, he denied Jesus 3 times.